All right, fellas.
All right.
So, it's John back with CGCB Podcast. Little something different today. Today I got my dad, Jon Sr, and my brother Matthew. The Toyota truck, the mini truck, started with my dad, Jon, and today we're going to ask him, do a little Q&A type deal, ask him a few different questions about the truck and, its beginnings and then how we got to where it is now. So Dad, when did you buy that truck?
We got it in June of '94. It had already been driven 9,600 miles. And I needed a truck, and my grandma helped me get that truck, matter of fact. We went down there and got it, and I took care of that truck. Boy, I loved it. I kept it shined up, looking good. And a good thing trucks can't talk.
Yeah. All right. So 9,600 miles when you bought it?
Yeah.
So it's basically a brand new truck.
Yeah, the salesman had it before me. He got, and obviously it was brand new, and it was a demo truck. So he got to drive it around back and to work, and that's why you see so many of them on the road now, because demo trucks were the thing and back then, I reckon. So.
Funny thing about that truck, when you start looking at the packages those come with back in the day, I did a bit of research about it. That truck is supposed to be a base model, but it has a bunch of different options in it.
Yeah.
That's a lot further away from being a base model.
Yeah.
AC, I think there was a tape player in it.
Yeah, it had a tape deck, AC, had a sliding back glass. Well, it still has that, but then when you open the hood and you look at it, you see all these spots for additional things that could have came on it. Like your turbo and all that other. Oh Lord. Yeah, the turbo.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something else I could see in there. It was an add-on feature to it.
Power steering.
Yes, this was the only power steering right here.
Yeah.
Get it in gear, and once you start moving, then it's easy to turn the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So once I got that under control, it was on then. This like power steering. You really don't notice it's not there once you get accustomed to driving it, because it's just like riding a bike.
Mm-hmm.
And, I miss driving the thing, so watch out.
Another thing that is a good feature on it is there's a graphics package on it along with American Racing 15-inch wheels,
yes.
Aluminum wheels.
Yes.
Those are definitely not a standard type deal for that truck.
I was surprised to see them on there, and when I got it out, that's what sold me was the wheels on that truck. And I had never owned a Toyota before. Before I owned it, I had a Dodge Ram 50 that was, and it had Mitsubishi on the tailgate, and it had the Mitsubishi symbol on the front, but it had Ram 50 over here. Imported for Dodge, or by Dodge, was on the steering wheel in there. Little blue Dodge. It was.
It's almost like a Mighty Max.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it had Ram 50 on it, and it was a nice truck. It was sky blue, blue interior, but the Toyota. Once I got the Toyota and I started driving it, I was in love with it, because the place I worked at, one of my workmates had he had a 92, I think it was, Toyota, or a 93. And we would race them little trucks down that old back road, and he'd take that little Ram 50. It just didn't have the torque that Toyota had. So that's what sold me when we went and looked at trucks. I seen that Joker and I was like, I got to have that, because the wheels on it were sporty looking, and I had white leather tires on that time actually. So it was real sporty looking, and the sport stripe on it was cool. So I'd like to try to see that on there if possible. If you don't go a different route with it.
I really like the stripe on it, even though it's super 90s. The stripe, because it's not just a black stripe down the side. It is a base black, and then it has specks in it. So you have speckles of drops of, it looks like paint, but it's a vinyl, and it's got like a reddish color and silver color in it. And it spans the length, like from the door all the way into past the bed and almost
past
to the
fuel
tailgate.
tank, past the fuel tank cover, or the gas can cover.
There's a website dedicated to vinyls for Toyota pickups, and funny enough, that one vinyl is not on that website. They have hundreds of other different packages.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, that is one that's not on there. So I'm kind of thinking whether or not that might have been a custom job. Unless Toyota just had a certain package, and because some dealerships will customize a truck,
right,
and then they'll sell it as their little custom package.
Well, you notice that on the insurance it says Supra. So if you'll look under Supra, you'll probably see that graphic in there for that truck.
Yeah.
I had found it before, actually. After I had got it scratched up a good bit and wanted to redo it, but think life happens and you never get around doing those things. So, but it could have been, a lot of them trucks came just white and didn't have anything on them. So yeah, somebody may have bought, they may have put that on there after the truck got to the dealership. But I think it came with it on there.
Yeah.
And I think if we look back at the Supra at that year, you may see something. I don't know if any Supras had any graphics on them at all.
In 1994, the Supra that was out in 94 was the Mark IV, and the Mark IV Supra didn't have any graphics. Granted, the Mark III, the generation before it, which ended in 92, I believe, I think there may have been graphics on those, but that is something I haven't said. The truck is labeled a Supra on some places. It says Supra with truck package.
Yes.
How you can get a truck package on a Supra, I don't know. But it's definitely something different. But what was the first thing that you've noticed, like whenever you had the truck, like the first thing that went wrong, or like your first scratch or dent? Can you remember?
Oh Lord, the first dent in it. Well, yeah, the first dent was in the passenger door. I was not being very gentlemanlike, and the lady kicked the door on the truck.
How rude.
That was yes. And I think it was around December of 95. Yeah, that was after my surgery. But that little truck, I took it down to Madison Highway. Went down there, across the bridge, went over the river bridge there, and made a right. And you go down that little two-path road, and I was going to drive through this water hole. And so I took off going to go through it fast because it was kind of deep. And I said, well, at least, if I send it, I'll get on through there. Well, that wasn't the case, see. So I went to send it, and she sunk it. Not send it, it sunk right there. And so the floorboard was slap full of water. The engine control box, all that mess was underwater. My amp underwater. But the door speaker somehow made it through there. I guess they dried out on the way home. But I called Jon across the road. He had that 93 Toyota. Remember it?
Yeah.
That jacked up 4-wheel drive. No, I'm sorry, it was a 94 Toyota. His was just 4-wheel drive and mine was not. But he came down there and pulled me out just like that. And it cranked up and we drove it home with water running falling out the floorboard.
So there, in those floorboards, there are actual holes in it.
Mm-hmm.
No, not a lot of people know that there are legit factory holes in that floor where if water does get into your truck, it can drain out, and it's at a low point in the floor pan. Funny enough, those are not rusted.
Really?
They're still covered with paint. They're not rusted out, which is miraculous.
Yeah, because that truck's been through the dirt roads. It is not a stranger to dirt roads and mud slinging and bogging down. I don't know how many times I've been down around playing Dukes or Hazard in it. I just wasn't jumping ditches with it now, don't get me wrong. But definitely a lot of dirt road travel.
Well, that funny enough, that leads me to my next question. How many times can you remember where it's been on less than 4 wheels?
Well,
like, say you put it in a ditch and then you had to get it out, or you jumped some shit.
Yeah. Man, when we moved from Lake Park to Ray City, I had you sitting in the front with me, and we were riding around. The house wasn't even built yet. And we were riding around the back of the woods back there in the back of the field, and you was looking out the window. I had the window open. You was hanging out the back window, and we was cruising down the old trail. Next thing we know, whop! It just stopped dead. And I mean, I hit the biggest darn stump, man, and you just went smash right into the dashboard. And man, boy, we sat there for a minute. I thought my oil pan was busted, but it wasn't. It caught that under that crossbar under there. Remember? But yeah, that hurt my feelings that day because it bent under there.
It still is.
Yeah, that's what it hit. That big old stump. It was a lighter stump.
For people that don't know, on a Toyota 2-wheel drive, there's a fairly large cross member that runs in the chassis underneath the engine, or right in front of it, actually. This is a spot that a lot of people try to cut out of the way when they're doing an engine swap. But if I do an engine swap on this truck, I will be leaving it in there only for the mere fact of it hit a fucking ladder knot and saved the truck from being completely totaled.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's that. Damn.
But hey, it took a hell of a lick and it's still running.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it didn't jar the transmission, you know, and I expected to have issues, you know, with the flywheel or something might have got bent, you know, with that sudden jarring, because I've heard of that happening. You know, you ain't supposed to jar nothing down that hard when it's running. But that has been one tough truck.
I'm sure it stalled it, like, immediately.
No,
it kept running?
it ran.
Oh, damn. Did it burn the clutch up?
No, we just backed up and went on around it and kept on trucking. And, you know, of course, we was in high grass, so I had to get on out of there and where I could look at it. And else it was running fine. Just dented a little on the front, tore that front valance off a little bit.
Yep. Which new one is on the way. I'll give an update when that comes in. So, what was my next question? There is 230,000 miles on the truck. How many clutches and flywheels have you put in it?
One.
God damn.
One.
And
them people at the shop done it. They changed it out. And you know what? No, that's original. The green one had the clutch replaced.
and it had fifth gear replaced.
Yes.
Now the white truck had to have transmission work at one time as well, didn't it?
I think the detent plunger in it
Mm-hmm.
had to be replaced.
Okay.
Maybe the throw out bearing for fourth gear. Yeah, something like that.
Now that transmission is a W55 transmission, and those are very popular for guys who are running 1JZ and 2JZs because you can get the Lexus IS300 had a naturally aspirated 2JZ, and they had what's called a W58 transmission, and it's the same family and it's the same bolt pattern. It's just a tad bit stronger. And what people do is with these trucks, when they do a 1JZ or 2JZ swap, they won't bump the power up a whole lot because that transmission is only good for like 300 horsepower, and then it'll go to start braking. But they'll take that adapter from the Lexus, put it on the trans, and then drop the 2JZ in the truck, and then it bolts right up, and it sits in the same exact shifter hole and everything.
Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. That 1JZ car I had, the reason why I got the car was I was going to do the swap, but I had to sell that car to get my new car. So unfortunately, that plan got pushed back a little bit. But so I know recently, well, my whole life we've been talking about getting that truck fixed up. And then one day Dad calls me, he says, I'm tired of fucking talking about it. We're going to fix it. And then I was like, well, shit, all right, here we go. And I started ordering shit.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to get that thing rolling.
Yeah. Let me dial back a little bit. So there was a short period of time where we're not going to get too deep into it, when the truck was not in your possession.
Yes.
Granted, this is like a second owner truck. The only other people that it's been owned by is me and him, and then the guy that owned it before him.
Yeah.
So every time we've switched it, which we've switched 3 times, I think now, I ain't even changed the pink slip on it yet. Like, we got the same fucking name. I'm not gonna do that right now. But in that short period of time, from what I understand, it gained a substantial amount of damage.
Oh yeah.
Cause it, as far as, I mean, granted I was very young, but I remember that it was a pretty decent looking truck until that point.
Yeah.
And through stuff we're not going to talk about on here, you finally got it back. It stayed in the family, but you finally got it back.
I finally got it back. Yeah.
Rightfully so.
That's right.
It should have been like that to begin with, but we're not talking about that here. So yeah.
Yeah, I went and got my damn truck back. What I did, but we parked it right out here, and it sat here for a while. I mean, I drove it. I think it just had a flat tire at the time, but she sat there and was lonely and needed to be around her where she belonged. So went and got it. And matter of fact, it sat right out here because the daggum, I was using it one day to clean when I was redoing the back room on the house, and it was full of materials. And I went to crank it up one day, and I heard something. It started turning over, and something clicked, and I heard the sound of a chain falling, and I was like, well, there goes the timing chain, you know. But the timing chain did not break. It was the guide, timing chain guide that broke. And so, you know, I ain't never replaced no timing chain before, especially on no Toyota. I was scared to death of that thing, so I parked it right over here, and it sat there for a long time, months. And finally got the courage up, you know, you can do this thing, you know, you just got to put your mind to it. So I bought me a manual on it, and I read up, and you know, I read it, and I read it again, and I read it again, you know. And so I went out there, and I'd work till 9, 10 o'clock at night, and this was in the wintertime.
Oh, wee.
And so, well, you all watching this will probably know what entails changing a timing chain on a 94 Toyota pickup truck with a 22 RE in it. It's no easy task, you know, unless you've done it a time or two. So anyhow, here I go. I tore that thing down, and one night, and then the next night I put it back together again. But and lo and behold, she fired up. And then right after she fired up and ran a little bit, it quit running. Right there. I was like, well, son of a bitch. So that was when Matthew was at he was going to Moulton Branch. He was probably, I don't know, 3rd, 4th grade, whatever. And he had a little buddy he met there, and his buddy's dad was real good with cars. Reyes.
Oh, good.
Victor Reyes. Anyhow, he come over. Wasn't you here?
Yes.
We pulled that gas tank, and it had a full tank of gas. And we jacked that rascal up and drained the gas tank. Oh, good Lord. We was under there draining that fuel. And finally got the tank out and put that new, he had that fuel pump off of that Evo.
Yep, it was that was a Walbro 255 fuel pump. Common upgrade for many sports cars or motorsport related. Walbro 255, you can get them fucking anywhere, like AutoZone and stuff. Great fuel pumps. They can support a good bit of power, but yeah.
And the best thing about it though is it didn't cost me a fucking thing.
Yeah.
He just gave it to me, and we just had some shit to do, I guess. So.
And shout out to Ray Reyes because he did the majority of the fucking work.
He damn sure did. He soldered that shit, and I was like, dude, how you gonna connect that shit? And he was like, just wait a minute, man. He come in here with a damn lighter and some shrink wrap, and had a soldering gun, and we soldered them wires back on there and put that shrink wrap on, and we had gas all over us. I think we was all high as hell in here on gasoline.
Yeah. Granted, me, Dad, and Ray, all three of us are underneath this tiny ass truck, mind you. All three of us.
Yeah.
So let me fast forward a little bit here. I replaced the fuel pump about 2 or 3 months ago in it again because I thought the fuel pump stopped working. And really what it turned out to be was it was just after a while, I mean, no matter what material you use, fuel will eat whatever plastic you use. There is some plastic that is fuel rated, but at the time we just needed to get the truck running, so we used whatever that Ray had at the time. But I did it the easy way, and I pulled the fucking bed off the truck so I could just stand there and fix it because it's right there on top.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I pulled it out and I put in a Deechworks 265 fuel pumps. That's 265 gallons an hour that thing will pump. It is way too fucking big for that truck.
Hell yeah.
But it's fucking doing it, and it's doing it good. I fire it up every day now. But to dial back, Ray did a really good job with the install because we had to like bend the bracket that was inside the tank to make it work with that pump. And funny enough, it worked great. And then after Ray put that in, the truck ran pretty good, I think, for a while, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it ran good. We running it good, and then the next issue was it kept shutting off. And I thought it was due to the mass sensor or the distributor on it. The timing couldn't never be right. So seemed like I bought another distributor for it. No.
We'll just fix that one. I believe.
I came down and I retimed it.
That's right. We retimed it. And then
the math, so the way the airflow sensor works on this truck is a huge fucking box, and it's got a huge flapper in it. And on top of that flapper, inside another box, is like this sensor pad, and it's kind of like a slot car. It's got these little metal prongs that touch that pad, and whenever the flapper box moves, those little prongs scrape across the membrane, and that's how it sends signal back to the computer telling the truck how much air it's got. Well, there's a stop that stops it whenever it's at idle or the truck's off. Well, somehow that stop got behind it. I don't know how, because nobody had ever been in it, and we ain't been dogging it really. So at the time, we have dogged the shit out of that truck, but not at that time. But somehow it had gotten past that prong and was stuck, and it couldn't go open with the natural vacuum of the truck. And I pried the cap open, and I found that, and I got it in front. And the little prongs that scrape across the membrane, I flattened them out against it because they had worn out a bit. And somehow or another, I managed to get it fired back up. That was, I think, it was right before I joined the Army. And then, how long did it stay running while I was in the Army, or did it stay running?
It didn't. Not long at all. I mean, it was maybe 2 or 3 times. 2 or 3 times going down the dirt road with a dog, and then it just decided not to run no more, and so we parked it back out there and let it sit for a while longer. And that's when we started with the trying to take the paint off. You know, I was like, hell, if it ain't gonna run, but at least try to, you know, fix this bed, you know, and just using what we had. We was gonna just try to, you know, patch up them holes, and I got that little welding machine. You know, we was gonna, you know, do some spot welds here and there to fill in holes and this and that. But I mean, it's a big chore to do all that.
It really is.
So, I don't know if you want to just do the side panels, cut that off, and just weld some new in. Would probably be the easiest thing to do. I mean, we've seen it done on, you know, I know it can be done.
Yeah.
So,
well, here's the big issue with that. I've been looking a lot into finding new panels for this truck, and luckily enough, I have been able to find a complete front clip, like everything in the front of the truck. So update on that is I have everything but corner lights for that truck. So the entire front end of this truck is brand new.
all right.
Appearance wise. Now, as for the doors and the bedsides, doors are hard to find. The only doors I can find are used doors off of other trucks, and there's only one bed panel that I can find to fix the side of the bed, and it's for the passenger side only. That is the only one I can find. They don't have a driver's side anywhere. I've spent hours upon hours looking, and yeah, I still can't find those parts. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to enlist some help from a friend that does auto body, and we're going to repair the best we can. If we need to cut a section and add, and just do like old muscle car and just do it, do it upright, because now we're past the point of being able to just buy the part and just swap it. What's up, bud? My son said, "Hey, everyone." He's not out here. He just ran in for a second and left. We're not smoking our own children, so don't freak the fuck out. But yeah, I know while it was down here for a while, Matthew, you tried to start working on it. So what was your plans while y'all had it down here?
I mean, really, I thought the distributor was completely broke because I took it out. This was after you timed it, and then it kept messing up again. So I took it out, and inside there's like a shaft, and it was completely broken too, just shattered.
It still is.
Really?
Yes, I accidentally broke that my first time timing it because I didn't have it seated all the way, so it was at a cant. And while it was running, over time, it eventually broke. It's all it is a collar that the main shaft runs through. But you have to hold that thing together and shove it in at the same time, or it won't seat all the way. But continue. What?
Well, after that, I didn't think I would have any way of fixing that unless I did some kind of magic welding or something.
JB will.
Yeah. So I started working on the body. I got a steel tooth brush on a grinder and just started going along the side, stripping down the paint. And then at some point I just gave up. I just didn't work on it anymore. I would come out here and try and start it. Spray some, what's it called?
Ether.
Rust preventative? Or preventative?
No, start it.
Oh, to start it. Okay. So yeah, an ether or start fluid.
Yeah. I believe I got it running one time, then I just gave up on that. Started taking off body panels, because at that point I was gonna start saving up and getting new body panels. The hood obviously, because it's got a huge dent in it where it curves up and then back down. I just gave up on it and then completely sold it back to you.
Yeah. It's right now. My son just stole my bucket, and now he's dragging it around in here. So I apologize for the noise. But yeah, right now we're at a really good point in the truck. I know you really want it to get finished. I really want it to be finished. I know I would not sell it for any amount of money in the world. I have had offers. People have seen it and said, "Hey, I'll give you X amount of money for it," and I've told them to promptly go to hell because it's not for sale. Yeah, I did daily it for a little while after I got in the Army. I dailied it for almost a year. I drove it every day, and had a guy that worked out at the port where I was working. He brought cash every day. At one point, he had like $4 grand cash, and I was like, "Dude, I'm sorry, but it's not happening." Like I know the windshield's cracked and it's beat to hell. The fucking turn signals wasn't working on it. But that truck, I just love that damn truck. And then while I was doing that, matter of fact, I did do a trans service on it. Me and Matthew did a trans service. We did that and the rear end.
I remember that out in that driveway. It was like 120 degrees outside.
Yeah. So we did it the cheap way, and we filled it through the shifter instead of doing it through the side because the bolt on the side of the trans was seized. So we were able to. I didn't drain it yet because I wanted to be sure that I could fill it. Luckily, I was able to make sure that I could fill it through the shifter. Excuse me, through the shifter first. But yeah, that got done. We had to redo the bearings on the rear end at one point, didn't we?
Yeah. We took the axles out.
Yeah.
Right out here in the driveway. Sure did. I forgot about doing that.
Yeah, so that was before I joined the Army. Matter of fact, when we did that. I remember we had to pull the brakes and then pull the axle shafts out to get the pumpkin out. And we replaced the bearings on it, and what else?
The seal, rear main seal, the bearings, the U-joint. Or did we do the U-joint?
Yeah, we did joint.
New joint. All new bearings, seals. We was talking about welding the gears to make it positive traction. And we never did mess with that dude. Need a new rear end really.
Yeah.
Cause that noise, that roar,
It still is whining, yeah.
oh my God, that's just terrible. I mean,
The noise the trans, or not the trans, but the rear end makes sounds like a gearbox with straight cut gears. So the faster you go, the louder this bitch whines.
yes.
And it's not because the bearings are bad or anything. The bearings are, well, I mean, they're a few years old, but still, there wasn't a whole lot of miles put on them. But this thing just whines loud as hell. So future plans for that is to put LSD in it. Just because I don't want to be ghetto and weld it up. Even though that would be the cheapest and best option. I'm going to find a Detroit locker to put in it.
Right.
That's a 7.5 inch rear end. So I can get a Detroit locker in it, a True Track, or a, I think Cusco has one as well, or I can get one out of matter of fact, a Supra will fit in it.
Hell yeah.
So I could probably find a Supra twin turbo LSD to put in it. What else did I have on my mind? I did show you the videos of the update of the hood being in.
Oh yeah.
And the fenders being in. What do you think of the new fenders?
I think it looks pretty badass actually. Black then looks good, you know. I mean, hell, I paint it white. We'll just leave it black. But,
Murder it out.
yeah, I mean but then you showed me a picture of that one cat that's got the black truck with the LED on it and all that. But I really like the white, and I like the racing wheels on it and the white letter tires that it had on it when I first got it. But I mean, we ain't got to do like that. It's whatever's done to it would be something that I would have wanted to do, you know, but never had the chance to do because I always done different things with money I made. You know, I wasn't into, you know, I thought about fixing it up, but I never spent that money on doing that. It was always something else, you know. But now I'm like, by God, let's fix this truck up and make it badass. I mean, it's already badass. Let's put some thought and some money into it and just make the shit happen. Because I'm tired of talking about it. By God, let's see it. Let's see it grow.
Yeah. Oh hell, I forgot to ask. So in the 90s, or the late 80s, matter of fact,
Thank you.
when mini trucks started becoming a thing, was the mini truck game like big here? Like, I'm not talking like lifting a fucking truck. I'm talking like, you know, the street truck crowd and the sound,
Yes.
the hydraulics, the lower the trucks.
Oh hell yeah. Yeah, in
So
the
is the thing
80s.
here?
Oh hell yeah, man. You got your truck, you slammed it down. You tricked them out every way you could. There was this one buddy of ours, old Craig. He had a dang Nissan extended cab. He tore the bench seat out of it, tore them back seats out. He put in fucking bucket seats in this thing, and he built it. This was back in the 80s now when CDs had come out. So he built a rack in the middle between the bucket seats that went from the gear shifter all the way back and up to the back there. So all he had to do was flip his light on, and he had his choice of CDs right there. But now on the back, he had two 12-inch subs back there, and he had two 6-inch speakers in each door. This thing would rock your world, son. And he took and shaved off. Now this thing was slammed down to the ground. Okay, I mean it was like that much. Shaved off the handles on it. So you just walk up to the truck and run your hand over the top of the door frame up top, and the doors would unlock. He had sensors in there. This was in the 80s. He'd run his hand over there, you hear go click, and it unlocked. But if the battery was dead or something, he had a little, you'd get underneath it, and he had a cord you could pull in an inconspicuous area, of course.
That is bad. In the 80s.
No shit.
Damn. Okay, so I know the whole shaved door handles thing. When I started getting into cars when I was younger, in the early 2000s, what Mighty Car Mods calls the sex spec era. Yeah, sex spec. That's what they call it. Yeah. But a lot of people are shaving their door handles because it looks sweet, because it keeps the body lines going.
Yeah.
But in the 80s?
In the 80s.
That is wild. I didn't even know.
Yes.
There's cars today very expensive cars that do that now.
This guy, he was a damn stereo installation expert.
Okay, so was this like a shop truck type of deal?
Yeah, they had a shop, and it's like a car stereo shop.
Yeah.
But they did custom installs.
Most of you kids these days don't understand what a car or stereo shop is, because we don't really have those anymore. But there used to be well, Dad can explain to you. There used to be a shop you would go to.
Yeah. If you wanted you wanted to upgrade your factory car stereo, you took it to a stereo place, and they would take your vehicle and do to it whatever you asked them to do. If you wanted a big box made for speakers or whatever, they'd custom build you a box right there in their shop. And back then, I mean, it's expensive now, but back then, $1,500 stereo was a lot. I mean, you spent $1,500 and you had something, but today
Cars come with.
they come with badass stereos already. You ain't got to go through all that tricking out business.
Come with 10-inch subs, stock, batteries.
And a lot of the prices has come down. That what I got now, it would have been $2,500 or more back then. Two 1,600 watt amps. Go figure. You ain't paying $1,500 for 2 amps. You're gonna be a little more on that.
And mind you, guys, back then, let's say a 2,000 watt amp was this fucking big. Now you can get a 2,000 watt amp that's like this. Yeah. Okay, so in the mini truck game, you gotta deal with mini. The truck's small. You ain't got a lot of room in there. So let me roll that over into the next topic I want to talk about is the stereo system you had in the truck. You had a crazy fucking system in that truck. Like, it was one big ass Alpine amp under the seat with 4 8-inch subs behind the seat.
4 8-inch subs, that big ass amp under the seat, door speakers, and 2 6-inch 3-way Rockford Fosgate. I think they're still in today.
They are.
That was pretty loud. I mean, it wouldn't win ground shaker or nothing like that, but it was just loud because I'm a rock and roll. I mean, I would really like to crank that stuff up. Yeah, I built that right here in this garage.
That triangle shaped box.
Yeah, man.
That was a show quality box. You did a really good job on it. I don't know what the fuck happened to them, but the box themselves. Granted, you had to have the seat scooted forward a good bit.
Yeah.
For them to fit behind the seat. So.
Yeah. I was surprised when you wanted to drive that truck, and I was like, "Where the fuck you gonna put your legs, man? You gonna look like Fred Flintstone stomping on the fucking ground there for brakes and shit." Damn.
Yeah,
You get in a wreck in that, you'll be pulling a femur out your ass. That's for sure.
Yeah, that truck had a really crazy stereo system. I still have that Alpine amp.
Really?
And the original Alpine stereo in my building.
Wow. It probably works still.
The Alpine stereo, I believe, works. The amp needs to be resoldered where the auxiliary cables go in.
That's right.
This is not a regular auxiliary cables, kids. These are the ones that y'all don't use no more, the colored ones, the red and the white ones.
RCA cable.
Yeah, RCA cable. Yeah.
Them big bastards.
Yeah, so the stereo was really good in that truck. I'm thinking on modernizing that. I want to put I'm gonna have to custom build something, but I want to put a touchscreen in it. Probably maybe a 10-inch in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then if the speakers are still good, I will run those speakers still. Granted, they got some age on them.
So check this out. You're talking about the mini trucks and all. What do you think about a tonneau cover on the back? Because back in the 80s, when all this was hot and all, this guy, he had a tonneau cover on the back. I didn't tell you this. But he cut out the back part of his cab and the front part of the bed, and he had a damn boot that fit, that sealed up the gap there. And he had, them speakers was in there, in tubes in the bed of the truck. And he had them bolted down in these damn big ass tubes. And that's what was coming into the back, the damn truck. That's how he got all that back there. Oh, and that son bitch, I'm talking about when he cranked it up, the windshield wipers was bouncing off the fucking windshield, son. I mean, like, holy shit, your hair was just, you know, and you couldn't hold a beer in there for shit. You couldn't hold Well, yeah, those were good days, but yeah, that's an idea, you know, to get that extra leg room. You know, some folks was cutting out behind the seat, even to just put one sub in there and run a tube in there, build you something. You know, we used silicone when we built them boxes. You know, before we put the box together, it was all 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch plywood. You know.
So y'all didn't use the medium density fiber board?
Yeah,
I think?
the MD. Yeah.
Yeah.
I call it plywood, but it was the particle board. I call it.
Mm-hmm.
But in fact, Craig was the guy's name. He built the boxes and whatnot. And then one day we was sitting out there talking, and I was like, "You ever use like silicone or caulk? You know, because you see a carpenter using wood glue.
Mm-hmm.
You know." I said, if you use that caulk, you won't have any air loss at all. He sat there for a second. He was like, I ain't never thought of that. Hell, he started doing that. He started caulking his seam and everything. And I was like, can you tell the difference? And he was like, Well, not so much, but it sounded good. So they ain't had no scientific proof that it, actually helped or anything. No sound testing equipment or whatever. But if you're gonna have a nice looking truck, I think you should have a nice sound stereo in it also. I mean, you gotta have tunes. So definitely have to cover that aspect as well. And I do like the idea of putting the touchscreen in there. Even for navigation. The cup holder part that's broken there, probably do away with that to allow for that big box or radio unit, the kind that electronically come out on its own and flip up.
Yeah.
That's the kind would probably fit there. But there again, you got the air returns right there also. So we could have to find some way to get around that. I think we'll be all right. I mean, that's another bridge we can cross when we get to it.
Let me get your lighter from me, please. I've been blown away by the crazy '80s tech that I let my cigar go out. But back in the '80s and '90s, so it was all about it looking good and sounding good, not so much of it being fast. Because granted, trucks back then, they're fucking not fast. Let's just be honest here. I think the Toyota, they come stock at like 100 something horsepower and probably about the same foot-pound torque.
Yeah, there was only a few folks that was into the fast, and they usually was driving Chevrolets, and they was dropping them down to the ground too. They was dropping them down, cutting the wheel wells out, putting big ass racing slicks on the back of them, and they was smoking them up and down the damn strip, or right there in the parking lot. But no, the main thing was the radio, There wasn't many musclehead guys in high school that I knew of. But, except for my buddy across the road, he had that Dodge Challenger, that 72. That was a bad son of a bitch now. It'd snatch your head back. That joker was quick. But I think he dropped the damn drive shaft out there on front of the road one time. They was out there racing. But yeah, you had to have a badass stereo in high school. I mean, you could have a piece of crap looking car, but as long as that stereo was spot on, you was good to go. People come up there in a damn Ford Taurus, it looked like it was from being through hell and back, but it had a badass stereo in it, so it was all right. But yeah, that truck, the '94 Toyota, it wasn't dented, scratched. It was immaculate when I bought it.
So you could say show truck quality. And did you ever put in any shows, or do you need to go to any shows?
No, I didn't ever put in no shows. I kept it looking nice. I mean, I didn't like for it to get any kind of dust on it. I drove it, and when I'd get home, I would rinse it off, and then I would dry it with a hand towel. I would use one cloth to dry it, and then I'd take another cloth, dry cloth, and go back over it again to get the water spots off. I kept that, and the same thing I did to the Mitsubishi I got. You keep that thing wiped down good, that paint will last a lot longer, because it's not really made to carry the dirt and grime and whatnot all the time. So that's why even reading in the manual book, it talks about keeping the vehicle clean, because all that dirt staying on there, it's just going to build up and cause rust later on down the road. But yeah, I kept that joker clean. And then after, the door got kicked in, and then the same person kicked the other dent that's next to the gas tank fill area right there. That big ass dent right there.
I've been looking at it.
that's a big footprint right there from the same person that did the door. And
You know who you are.
And
Shame. Shame on you.
And hell, the bad thing about that particular dent is I wasn't even home at the time. I was over at a friend's house. I had been riding with them. And,
So it happened and you wasn't even home when it happened.
yeah.
That's a dick move.
I got home and, you know, you can't, when you pull in the driveway at night, you know, and the headlights just kind of pull in, you go, what the fuck? What the fuck happened there? So, yeah, you're going to come in asking some damn questions, you know. I mean, who the hell kicked my damn truck?
Door swinging, what in the fuck?
Oh, Lord. Oh, yeah. You probably wonder what happened to the damn door right there, why it got bent round.
That is why I originally bought new fenders, because that fender was just fucked. I needed a new one on that side because the door and the fender made contact.
A lot.
Yeah.
Struggle opening it.
Yeah.
Have to open it with a crowbar.
Yeah, it definitely had some damage there.
I like that year model Toyota because the gas tank is on the driver's side. You know? Is it on the passenger's? It is on the passenger side. Damn, where the hell have I been? I ain't been around my damn truck. It is on the passenger side. Well, what the hell ever.
But that generation truck, it does have a different bed than the rest of Toyota pickups. The way the bed is shaped. The cab and the doors are kind of the same, but the bed and the front end, there was a few different facelifts of the Toyota pickup from the 70s up until 95, when there was a halfway year, 95.5.
I'm thinking of that damn green truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've slept a few nights since then. So.
But yeah, there was the update that turned the pickup into the Tacoma, and that was 95.5. But Toyota did sell the pickup and the Tacoma at the same time for 95 and 96, and the Tacoma is a slightly better truck, but the 22 RE, well, let me put it to you like this. There was an entire fucking war fought in the Middle East using nothing but Toyota pickup trucks with rocket launchers mounted in the back, and I bullshit you not, they destroyed an entire Russian tank division with just fucking Toyota trucks and rocket launchers mounted on the back. They defeated tanks.
Damn.
With those trucks. Now, granted, these are the same chassis and body that we have here, but they have a diesel in it. And these trucks are called Hiluxes. The truck was called a Hilux before it was called a pickup in the U.S. Everywhere else in the world is called a Hilux. But here, we gotta call the fucking thing a pickup.
Pickup truck.
Yeah, because it don't get a name. It's the Toyota pickup. Yeah. But we've heard about you talking about the 80s and 90s, about the styling and whatnot of trucks. I want to kind of move on a little bit and get modern here. I'm not a lot into the truck game right now. You know, a lot of you know I'm into BMW, so I'm into that. But Matthew, you're a bit younger than me. What's the fucking deal with squatted trucks? What the fuck is wrong with y'all?
I mean, I'm not one of them. Okay. So,
Thank God.
I mean, I like a few of them, but they have to be like absolutely like complete frame rebuild, motor. It can't be. There's this dude. He's called Cat Eye Smith. Okay.
I assume he draws a cat.
Yeah. his boss paid for the entire truck, and he worked for like $100 a week just for gas and food. He later got exposed for that and had to sell it, but he had a 12-inch incognito lift in the front and 2-inch drop shackles in the rear on like 20s or something.
He's looking at the fucking sky.
Yeah. And
he's like the fucking Apollo spaceship about to take off.
They're just, I don't know. I've always been more into street trucks than anything. Like that cat eye I showed you had slicks on it.
So like a 3-inch drop all the way around on a full size or mid size truck.
Yeah. Also saw some 2018 Sierras drop down, cut the top of the fender well so they could fit like 26s.
Hell
billets. But there's just so many of my friends driving squatted trucks, and I wish they'd just drop them down, slap a motor in it. My buddy Devin, Jesus Christ, every one of his trucks has been squatted. He's got a Harley now, but
is he squatting the Harley too?
God, I hope not.
I don't squat to piss.
But
damn.
he had a 09 Tacoma.
Mm-hmm.
It was black. Bragged it so bad. There'd be nights I'd be riding with him. We'd be drifting this thing. It's got like a 6-inch lift and drop shackles in the rear, just drifting around dirt roads, like slinging mud up in there, hitting trees in the yard for no reason, kicking it. They just didn't care. But I just don't know. I mean, maybe they're going for like the Hispanic like drop style. They'll have it squatted, just maybe the smallest. But yeah, I have no clue. It's ridiculous.
Okay, I just wanted to throw that little tidbit in there because I have no clue why kids want to do this. I mean, to each your own. If that's your thing, dude. You do it. But Dad, is there anything else you want to talk about the truck other than just wanting to get it fixed up?
What's some more modern? You're wanting to go with more modern lights, like the LED headlights and the blinkers.
Yeah,
or
so
running parking lights.
That is one thing I was going to modernize on the truck. The headlights. In those days, you have just the big. I think it's a 7x6.
Right.
Bulb, and it's the whole headlight you replace. What I did was I ordered a headlight. It's not a light bar, but it has LED lights in it. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use those LED headlights. And for the corner lights, the corner light on the truck is not a turn signal like on most vehicles. It is just there as a running light. So you would, instead of throwing your headlights on the way, you can just click over to your running lights and your corner lights will be on, and they're amber.
Parking lot.
Yeah, parking lot. So there's a guy on YouTube. His name is Bad Lux, I believe. He did a retrofit where he put a sequential light or LED light into his corner housing and tied it into his turn signals.
Hell yeah, that's what I wanted to do with that.
And every time it signals, it does a sequential around the corner light. So that's what I plan on doing. That's probably going to be one of the few things I'm going to modernize on the truck. Just want to do the headlights, because those original lights, they suck at night. You can't see nothing.
Yeah.
And then the sequential lights, just because they look badass. But other than that, I thought about going crazy and putting a huge wide body on it and whatnot, but I really kind of want to just bring it back to its former glory. And then once we get there, if we decide, hey, we want to go crazy with it, we can go crazy with it. But I just wanted to get it back to the way I remember it.
Yeah.
Back in the day before unspoken people did untold things to the truck.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like the one time it went to Fort Walton Beach, Florida, without my knowledge. I was on a fishing trip and got home and my damn truck wasn't there. Oh, what the fuck, man? And then so and so's friend had it and they drove it to Fort Walton Beach, Florida. And so, you know, that was a Sunday evening I got home. And so Monday afternoon, when I got home from work, it was back home when I pulled in the driveway. There it was sitting down there, you know, so I pulled off the road and drove down. I hadn't even got to the house good. And I'm looking and the fucking hood looks like a damn clam with fucking telephone cord tied down to the grill. What the hell has done happened to my damn truck? Well, apparently, whomever had it rear-ended the piss out of somebody down there in Fort Walton Beach and drove it down the road, and the hood came up and bent back. That's why the back clip looks like it does, because it went like this. And then they pulled it back down and tied it shut. And that's why it's like that. So, you know, hey, let's don't ask the man if we can borrow his shit. Let's just take it and
wreck it.
And wreck it. And then not pay the man for the wreck it. Or offer anything for that matter. You know, so all that being, you know,
Now,
so we're gonna get the thing going. Oh yeah, the bumper on the back and the tail lights.
Mhm.
What you want to do there?
tail lights, I'm going back stock. I'm going to run the stock tail lights because there is LED tail lights that you can run, but they just look tacky.
Right.
Mind the business that owns you.
And appreciate it. Shout out to my sister Hannah. Appreciate it. But yeah, the LED tail lights, they have some that look kind of stock, but they still are kind of tacky looking. I just want to go back stock, but I probably will use LED bulbs in replacement of the normal bulbs.
Right.
And as for the bumper, the truck, funny enough, has a natural curve to it, like a roll pan would on a street truck. So I have the original bumper still. I still have the original bumper and whatnot, but I think I'm going to leave the bumper off for now and just keep the roll pan look that it has. If I can find a legit roll pan that goes in that place, I'll do that, and it'll just flush everything up. But until
Right
then,
around the tag, we got to put new lights in for the tag display. Do you want to put a lighted tag on that, or?
there's actually a LED retrofit that goes in the same position. So it's just LED bulbs. They go in there, and they're bright as shit.
Yeah.
And it'll light up the.
What about the
tag
spare? Is that spare still?
The spare's still there. I don't know how good the spare is, or what, but it is there.
Just been through it.
It's got many years of.
And I don't really remember about the brakes. You know, is that something that, you know, we upgrade when we do the back rear swap? If that happens, go ahead and do disc brakes on the back.
Yeah, so there is a disc conversion for the rear that you can do for the stock rear end. And then there's also, what people do is they'll do a complete rear end swap, and they will use a rear end that already has disc brakes on it. So what you do is you buy a bracket to put calipers on there as well, and then you'll just get a caliper and then mount your discs on it and whatnot and run it like that. There is one company that does a front brake upgrade, and it upgrades it to I think it's a 6-piston Brembo front caliper with a big rotor, and that will not fit behind the American Racing 15-inch wheels because the rotor itself, I believe, is 13 inches. And you know, the rotor or the the caliper has to stick out, a bit further past the rotor, so it will not, absolutely will not fit behind the American racing wheels. So if we were to upgrade brakes, we would have to upgrade wheels.
So we need to stay where we're at.
Yeah, it would be one of those. If we go looking for power, it's safer to upgrade your brakes first, so you can stop that bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't upgrade their brakes and just mod the shit out of their car. Upgrade your fucking brakes, because you just stop that bitch whenever your uneducated ass tries to haul ass. Because not everybody's a fucking natural race car driver. So yeah, but that big brake kit is badass. I envy it, but the kit alone is $1,300.
Dang.
Yeah, so $1,300 for the bracket, the caliper, and the rotors. And to be completely honest, that's not a bad deal, because the rotors are, the caliper alone is a 6-piston Brembo caliper, and those are stupid expensive. That same exact caliper that goes on, like, say, a Subaru STI costs just as much as the caliper alone. So you're getting a conversion bracket and all these other parts. It's not a bad gig or a bad deal. The only other thing that they suggest when you do that is to get extended lug studs that are a higher metal grade, because they said with the extra stopping force you could shear the original lugs off.
Oh, so they got to be like a grade 8.
They're actually grade 10.5 or something.
Damn high tensile strength bolt.
Yeah.
Or lug.
And little weird fact, ARP grade 10 bolts that go to the Evo 8 and 9 fit the truck.
Dang.
Yeah, that I got that tip from Bad Lucks on YouTube. Has the same truck that we have. But yeah, those ARP studs will work. But for the rear, that would be, because there's drum brakes on the rear right now, and I would like to have discs on the rear. But I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm going with right now.
We're going with the cosmetic repair now.
Yes.
And then go to the power and stopping and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then maybe later we'll talk about interior upgrade or.
Yes, I want to do exterior, and then when we move from exterior, I kind of want to move towards interior. Because I know back in the 80s and 90s, interior was kind of a deal as well.
Oh, hell yeah.
I have an idea of what I want to do. There's the diamond pleated black leather. The truck originally came with gray, vinyl and leather.
Yeah.
But I want to upgrade it to the diamond pleated leather. And I wanted to rewrap the door panels with that.
Yeah.
And then do the dash with it. And I wanted to take and put bucket seats in it, or a racing seat of some sort in black, and try to find some with the same diamond pleat, because I think this diamond pleat looks awesome.
Yeah, I do too. That's pretty awesome looking stuff.
But yeah, that's after we get the exterior of the truck, or like in the middle of the process we're doing the exterior, I kind of want to start touching on the interior as well, because the interior is it needs help,
Yeah,
to say the least. It looks about as good as the exterior. And honestly, it's not that bad. It just needs the mat, or the floor panel back in the bottom, and the seats bolted down, and the dash put back together. And the dash not even apart too bad. So we can definitely work with what we have there, and won't have to spend too much money on the inside, if at any, putting it back together. I know I want to fix the AC in the truck.
Yeah.
Because we live in Georgia, and damn it.
Yes. Yeah. And we can always turn the air off when we get ready to race it or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, did I say that out loud?
That's an extra 10 horsepower right there. You turn the AC off.
Yeah.
A little hard thing to find is those little caps that go onto the lever for the AC. Those are hard to find. I found one truck in the junkyard. Those were missing.
Wow. There's a box somewhere around here that's got a couple of them in it.
Ooh.
From that truck.
All right.
I just gotta find the box. It's probably in that building out there somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. That's gonna be awesome. That light on the top up there, you know, it needs to be took off. You know, whenever the truck's repainted or whatever, the brake light up top.
Oh, the third light?
Yeah. Take it off and probably do the same kind of LED or whatever
Yes.
Where's your
in
son?
it.
Hey,
So that back slide glass window, you know, you talked about repairing it, which would be good. Put some new seals on it, clean that track out real good, cause it's so tough to open and close. And then clean that glass real good. I don't know if you want to tint it, you know, maybe just leave it clear.
when you got the truck, was it originally tinted or did you have it tinted?
It was tinted.
So that.
No, we had it tinted. I
Okay.
had it tinted. That's right.
What year did you have it tinted?
Same year I got it, 94.
Damn. So I think it was 2016. I removed all the tint out of it, and it turned purple. It was purple by now.
Well, hell, it sat in the sun for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, that sun does stuff to the vehicles down here. But yeah, it looked cool. I had the bug guard on the front, you know, for the hood, and then I had the vent visors over the windows on the side.
Yeah.
So it looked tough back in the day, you know. Every time I'd wash it, and you know, I'd wax it, and I'd take Armor All, I'd do the tires and all the black on it. I just put a little Armor All on my cloth and took my, you know, and just, because I didn't want to get none on my paint that I just waxed, you know. So I'd wax it, then I'd do my Armor All treatment, and then I'd take my wax off. And then I'd wipe it down again with another clean cloth. And she just stayed slick and clean all the time, but I'd wash it, and then an hour later, I'd be on the dirt roads, slinging mud, you know, getting dust on it, just cruising. I love that little truck. I mean, I used it. It was my everyday driver for work. And not only did I drive it to work, I drove it for work. Because the boss I had at the time, he wanted me to drive this other truck he had, and you know, you wasn't sure if you was gonna get home or not, you know.
Was that the F-350 or was it one of them trucks?
It was the '69 Ford Ranger.
Damn.
I mean, I think the rust was holding the fenders on there. I think it had done seized on to everything. It beat your ass to death, but it had that damn, what is it, a 390 in it or a 383?
Yeah.
Column shift, pick up that son of a bitch, it haul ass. I ain't even kidding. And then the column shifter went out, you know, in the Bennett year, they didn't make that shit no more, so Lindsay, your papa, he put a damn speed shifter, 3-speed in that bitch. And that was all it took then, cause you know, I drove it for putting in doors. But anyhow, back to the Toyota. Tired of driving the beater because it didn't have no air in it. It was 2 windows down and 65 miles an hour. That was your AC right there. So I was like, look, I'll just drive my truck, you know. So that's how it got a bunch of them miles on it, because I drove it for work. And I drove it up until 99 or year 2000 is when Aunt Diane passed away. And that's when I got that 99 Tacoma, which had about 10,500 on it when I got it. And Lindsay went up there to the Toyota place, and I think he paid 9,600 for it. It had 10.5 on it. Had 96. He paid $9,600. They wanted 12 grand for it. I don't know how he talked him down, but anyway, he said, go out there to the truck for a minute. We was in there talking to the salesman, or he was, and they was going back and forth about the price, and he's like, run out there to the truck and get me my cigarettes, John. I was like, okay. And when I came back in there, he had him talked down and $9,600. I was like, I don't know what you said when I left, but anyhow, that was a good truck too, that 99 Tacoma. But anyhow, Toyota, that's the thing right there. That's a tough truck. That truck's been through hell and back. If it could talk, oh my God, wow. It's a good truck, and I'm happy you're interested in bringing it back to its original luster, or maybe even some modern applications to it to keep it going. Because when you sent me the picture of John, baby John in there, I could see you in there when you was 2 years old. Crawling in and out the back window, and I could just park that truck anywhere and just leave you in it, and you just stay right there. I mean, so
That's back in the day when you could leave your kids in the car.
yeah, with the windows down.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna look awesome getting it done and seeing it back on the road again. Cause there's another one like it. There's a '94 white Toyota around about Austin now. Mm-hmm. It's in immaculate condition. And,
you're just trying to flex on homie now. That's what it is.
But it'll get back. It'll get back to where it was. It's gonna take a couple some Benjamins thrown at it.
Yeah.
Several of them. But we'll get it there. We'll get it there.
So, what I didn't ask, how much was the truck when you bought it?
We paid 10 for that truck.
10,000.
10,000.
Now, how would you feel if I said that a truck in clean condition still sells for 10,000?
Really? Dang.
People have, when they bought their trucks, I think they were for the 4x4s. They were 12. That sound about right?
Right.
Okay, so a few guys that I've seen, they bought their truck brand new in 93, 94, 4x4, whether it be the 22 RE or the V6. They kept them in immaculate condition. They didn't dog them or anything. They turned around and sold them for the exact same price that they bought the truck new for.
Awesome.
And granted, I know 10,000 back then is not nowhere near 10,000 now, because of the inflation and such. So if I was to make a guess, 10,000 back then would be closer to 20 grand today.
15, 20, yeah.
So I mean,
At least. I see putting 2-3 grand in it. Mm-hmm. And having something, at least it'll be around, hopefully, for baby John. Matthew, if he wants to drive the damn thing, I don't know. It'll be in the Lassiter bloodline. Mm-hmm. And, we'll keep throwing stuff at it. And, all we can do is up with it. I mean, we ain't trying to tear it down no more.
Yeah.
It might even get to where one day we may take it off the frame and sandblast the frame down, do a complete remodel on it, from the ground up. In that way, because that frame, it's got so much on it that it needs it. I think it may be weakened in some spots. Because I hadn't really looked at it. in a while. You know, I mean, when I say I used to clean that truck, I'd get under it with the hose. I mean, and spray. I didn't let dirt stay clumped up on anything. You know. I mean, I washed every crook and cranny out from under there. Of course, when you're out there having a few beers, and cleaning your truck, you gotta get it good and clean. You're getting into it, and hell, only to go back out and dirty it up again. But that's part of the truck. But that truck is pulling. It can pull some heavy weight.
Yeah.
It's hauled a bunch of heavy weight. In the bed. Yeah, we don't need to play with that. Woo-wee! Holy hell.
I apologize, y'all.
Wow.
My son got into the gas tank.
Man, you better lay off the gas, boy.
Yeah, so luckily I did not let him get soaked in that.
Dang, I'm gonna put that up on the shelf or something.
Yeah, but I would say that would probably wrap up this Q&A. We definitely went a bit longer than I expected, but I kind of did expect it to go a little bit long because that truck's been around for many years, and different generations has dealt with that truck, and now we're finally to the point where we can try to get it back to its former glory. So
you gotta start somewhere.
yeah, you gotta start somewhere. But she's already we're making huge leaps and bounds compared to what it used to be.
Right. Well, I appreciate you taking your time to mess with it there, right after work and all.
I apologize to some of my Lasser Precision customers. I've had to have some of y'all reschedule because this truck was here before y'all. Sorry. So yeah, but no, I take care of my customers at Lasser Precision. So luckily, my dad's taught me how to run a successful business. Shout out to Lapua area garage doors. If you're in the Valdosta area or the 229 area, this is the man to get a hold of. If you need doors or where the fuck else do you do?
Loading dock equipment.
Yeah.
Doors, dock seals, garage doors for your house, and business. We'll hook you up. 229-251-7043. Jon Sr.
The first.
Yes. Just don't ask for the first.
But yeah, guys, I know this video went a little bit longer than normal, so I apologize. But if you stuck with us this long, I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, and thanks for having me on. Good to see you. Come back to that. Y'all have a good evening. We're going to drink some sweet tea, and well, I am anyway.
I'm going to drink a beer too. But I appreciate it, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to try to get the bell fixed so you can get notifications as soon as we drop videos. So, appreciate it. Y'all have a good one. And
good night.
Y'all say good night, gentlemen.
Good night,
appreciate
gentlemen.
it.